the largest population of Mexicans come from that city, and we're just excited about the future with Mexico and America and the entire region. But mayors today, think about it. When I became mayor January 1st, 2022, I inherited COVID. We were at a high level of COVID. We were dealing with increased level of gun violence in our city. There was a level of uncertainty. We were going to continue to be locked down. We were dealing with major climate issues. We were just, every day there's a new crisis. So what mayors must do is to be, number one, flexible. Don't wake up and hope you don't have a crisis. Wake up and hope you have the strength to handle the crisis. And that's what we have done. Build the right team and build the right foundation. Our foundation was clear. Public safety was the prerequisite to the prosperity of all cities. Reach out to our business community like it has never done before, so that we can bring those great minds together to solve these real problems that we were facing, because every challenge we had, there was a business connection. When you have a $106 billion budget, you must have real business-minded people to help you navigate that. And then be prepared to expand your concept of who is your neighbor. As I said last night, my neighbor is no longer the person that lives next door to me. It is the entire region, if not the entire globe. And you have a robust international affairs agency that they have been global, creating sister city agreements, reaching out across the globe, and engaging in conversations across the globe to solve these global problems.
Thank you, Mayor. And you've also emphasized regarding talent and the workforce, you've emphasized the importance of education. And you have done so, I've heard you talk not only about formal education and the importance of access to quality formal education in more equal and open terms, but also of upskilling, reskilling during our lifetime, right? For people to have actually opportunities to contribute in jobs that are changing so fast with technology. Can you say more about this?
Yeah, no, that is an excellent question, because we all must realize that the normality that we had as young people starting out in the industry was many of us would be in jobs for many years. I was a police officer for 22 years. That is not the norm for the children we are educating for tomorrow. And we cannot use the same educational methods that we used in the past. We need to now start preparing our children, number one, for change. Number two, to know how to work in groups, communicate, be critical thinkers, and really how to take care of themselves. In New York City, we teach our children, every child goes through breathing exercises. We teach them the power of breath work to deal with stress. We're changing the food that we're feeding our children, because much of the food we were feeding our children was feeding chronic diseases. So we're doing a real examination to start giving our children healthy food. Then we are compelling them to get those skills that are needed for tomorrow. And every child is not going to go to college. There are a lot of certifications, a lot of licenses, everything from cybersecurity to financial tech to these other industries that children can actually get the skills they need to go into good paying jobs in the process. And so for New York City, our focus is now a holistic development of the full personhood of the child so they can be prepared to deal with some of the mental, the physical, and the emotional challenges that is going to define our workplace of the future.
Thank you. And I believe you have an interesting example in Govs Island too about what can be done with good space in a crowded, expensive city for real estate like New York City.
Well, Govs Island, for those who are not familiar, is a huge piece of real estate that traditionally has not been fully developed. We put out a call to develop the center, the Creative Climate Center there. We have a partnership with some of the colleges and other local investors, and we want to build out an entire environmental center to look at the challenges that we're dealing with our environment. You know, there's a whole green economy that's connected to the environmental issues that we're facing. And when you do an examination of all the issues that we are facing, there's an economy that's attached to those issues. And the goal is to have this partnership like we have, to make sure that we look at what is the business aspects of the challenges that we're facing. So this project we're doing at Govs Island is going to hire thousands, almost 7,000 permanent jobs. We're putting over $150 million just on the city level. Over $700 million is going to be used to develop the entire island. It's going to boost tourism. It's going to be an educational institution, and it's going to really come up with the solutions that we need for the future.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll visit at some point. Looking forward to it. So, question on migration. I guess if for anyone who follows the news, one cannot talk to Mayor Adams and not ask these days about your views on migration. History does show us that societies that favor human connections are the ones that flourish. And we do know that we're living in unprecedented times in terms of migration globally, but specifically in the Americas and specifically in North America. And when you visit if you ever have the chance, or if you had visited Mexico's northern border, the border with the U.S., that's an image of what happens in the world. That's Venezuelans, Haitians, Ukrainians, and it's really a map of geopolitics and the challenges that people face. And with so many people on the move, of course the challenges for cities are massive because migration policy does not depend on cities. But again, people go to cities. So what can you share with this group?
It's a real concern. We must balance our humanity with opportunity. As I state, every thing that is in front of me, I look at what is the opportunity. And we must do it in a humane way. In this region, we're seeing a shift in locales that we've never seen before. When we look at places like Peru, when you look at Venezuela, Ecuador, when you look at Colombia, Panama, we're seeing a shift that we have not witnessed before. In a few weeks ago, we had the UN General Assembly that was in New York, and when I sat down with my global leaders and my mayors from across the globe, they too are dealing with a migration shift. And to my business leaders, one, I think it's imperative that they build into their business plan the impact of migration, because it will have a major impact on the stability of businesses in all of our regions. It's going to really impact us, and we must partner with our Chamber of Commerce, our business organizations, with government and nonprofits. Many of our philanthropic organizations and groups are being overwhelmed. And a lot of our large businesses have foundations, they have benevolent acts that they do. This is an opportunity to zero in and focus on how do we give support to those nonprofits and local community-based organizations on the ground so that they can help monitor this issue and give support to those who are in need. Second, I think it's crucial that we understand what is causing destabilization in these various cities that is creating the migration that we're seeing. In some areas, it's public safety issues that are important. You see shifting climate change. You're seeing destabilized governments that are in place. We must use our attention and business connections and governmental connections to go in and find out how do we resolve and assist in some of those issues that we're seeing on the ground. We can't ignore this. You are not going to be a big box chain store and ignore a large population of men in general, and specifically that come into your city and don't think it's going to impact shoplifting, mass people that can be involved in, stealing or doing something that's antisocial behavior. We must come with a humane approach so that we can resolve some of the underlying issues that can come out of if we attempt to ignore it. This is not going to go away, and it's not going to be just a governmental problem. It is a problem that's going to impact all of us, and the solution is going to have to come from all of us. Business, government, community-based organizations, and then everyday volunteers who are willing to step up and say, these are people we're talking about, and we must be humane in our interaction.
Mayor, I know you're following your trip to other places. Is this part of wanting to understand also the origin of the phenomenon?
Yes, we, on this trip, we're going to visit, of course, Mexico City, our direct neighbor, but we're also going to visit Ecuador, and we're going to go to Colombia to look at the Darien Gap and get a full scope of what is happening. One, we want to give a real picture of what's happening in New York City. We are at capacity, and many people believe when you enter New York City, you're going to automatically have a job, you automatically are going to be living in a hotel, and there's just a climate that's there, just not a reality. Far too many people are living in congregate settings. We are really concerned about the women and children who are coming through this long journey, the emotional impact that is really going to have long-standing impact on them. And then the price tag. This is going to be $5 billion this fiscal year, $12 billion over 3 fiscal years. It is just not sustainable, this flow. And what we're seeing, New York now is getting approximately 10,000, a minimum of 10,000 migrants a month. We have over 116,000 that have come to our system. And part of the problem is that when you're in New York City or you come into America, you're not allowed to work. And that is a real challenge. It creates a real crisis. We were just able to get the government to allow those who came from Venezuela to be employed once they go through the, what we call the temporary protected status, filing and work authorization, but that's not coming anywhere near what we need.
Thank you, Mayor. So shifting to technology and the internet, that's what I work on. And I know you're very focused on technological advancements and how to introduce this into public policy and into building a stronger New York City. So you have mentioned that the internet is not a luxury, that it's actually a necessity to work, to study, and even to reduce racial disparities within cities. And you have worked hard to have initiatives. Can you share any lessons for other countries, for other cities, good or bad? Because with technology, of course, we prove things, and some work and some don't, right? So can you share with us any lessons on how to leverage technology and the internet for social development?
Well, we are fully open for business when it comes down to technology. Before becoming a police officer, I was a computer programmer, and I was part of the team that devised what we call our ComStat system in the police department, and it really helped us go from being reactionary to predictive in crime. I took that experience with me throughout my entire public life, and now as the mayor, we are delving into technology across the board. Everything from using drones to assist in helping with public safety, to look at visual, running cities three-dimensional. It's unimaginable when you think about it. We are currently running our cities from ground levels. And what we want to do is now run our cities, not only from the ground level, but from an area view. And the visualization and the system that comes with it, it is extremely impressive. We are looking at using robotics to control our subway systems. Robots, they don't take restroom breaks. You have them, it's cheaper to get it done. We build that up. I'm joining here by my Commission of Intelligence with NYPD. We have a vast camera set up throughout the entire city where we're tapping into business community utilizing their cameras to really focus on public safety in a real way. But we also building out a pipeline because our young people must fill the jobs. And so we're really building out a pipeline in partnership with organizations like Google, Amazon, and others of doing internship, paid internship, and then access to the internet. Because you're right, the internet is as basic as electric and water and gas. It's a utility in my mind. You no longer can go without it. We saw it during COVID. Many people who were shut in were unable to get access to their doctors. But when we fast-paced the use of telemedicine, you were able to prevent the spread of COVID, and people were introduced to this new form of communicating with their doctors. We're expanding on that. We're using an app-based a method of communicating for mental health with our children. They're going to be able to go online and speak with the mental health professionals. We're expanding on telemedicine, and we're expanding on the use of communication. We're moving into an area of using technology to do remote learning, where our young people are able to take courses from home, whenever they want, how they want, 7 days a week. Who says that graduation from high school must be in 4 years? We have accelerated learners. We want to give them access to those professionals and those educators beforehand. Technology is our thing in New York, from fintech to cybersecurity to utilizing it for information gathering. We are big on technology. We want it in New York. Any tech companies out here, wherever you are, pack your bags, move to New York City, and bring it in. We have outpaced San Francisco in tech startups. We've outpaced in tech startups. They've grown in New York City. We were just in Israel a few weeks ago, where we're encouraging more tech startups to come to the city.
Thank you, Mayor. Question on nearshoring. You know this is probably the most mentioned economic concept these days in the North Capital Forum, of course, and generally in Mexico. The big opportunity of relocating supply chains into North America as a broader region, and really boosting growth and resilience, including for cities, through having these shorter, closer to home supply chains. The exact level that Mexico, and generally I would say North America, will get from these nearshoring trends will depend on a series of factors. You've actually mentioned security, you've mentioned skills and education. It also has to do with infrastructure. From your point of view, which are these essential infrastructures? Airports, there's a big overhaul of airports in New York City. Airports, transport infrastructure, highways, telecommunications, electricity, oil and gas, renewables. What's top of mind for you as critical infrastructures to work on for cities to really get more of these investments?
Yeah, and I'm excited about that. First of all, we need to really look at our successes. When you look at Canada, New York, Mexico, our free trade agreements, we're the largest when it comes down to what is already there, our ability to trade with each other. Now we need to expand on it even more. And that supply chain needs to be redefined, and we never again should be caught unprepared like we were during COVID. The challenges and difficulties of getting the supplies that we needed for our constituencies. And the goal is to be intentional. It can't just fall into place. I think there's a level of intentionality where we need to focus on those specific supplies that we need and the answers to many of the solutions that we face. A few months ago, we had a fire in Canada, the thousands of miles away from New York City. We saw the smoke from that fire, cover the entire skies of New York. Just as we see the smoke of change that impact our environment, we can also use this as an opportunity to work together on building our critical infrastructure. How do we deal with the cleaner environment? How do we use the ideas that we're learning from each municipality to address these challenges of the future? We have some challenges that we must come up with solutions together. The fentanyl crisis coming from China, which many professionals believe making their way through Mexico into the streets of New York City. We can come together to push back on that. The environmental issue, how do we use wind farms? How do we make sure we do renewable energy, EV, electric vehicles? We're changing our entire fleet to electric vehicles and coming up with battery storage and the use of batteries and solar panels. And so all of these challenges that we're facing, we should be excited about the opportunities and the business interests that can come with finding a solution. The challenges are large, but we are ready for those challenges to come up with those solutions together.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we've talked also about interconnectedness, right? These days, challenges are increasingly connecting us, and that's not. All being connected is not a sentence you'll see in the spa in the Hilton in Mexico City. It is actually the basic principle of public policy in cities these days, right? It has to do with connectedness, and everything goes beyond the direct purview of cities.
But you're right, and intentionality is crucial. Business and government must come together and be intentional and reaching benchmarks and real lists that we can check off to state we've accomplished what we want each year. If you don't, we're going to wander in the wilderness of uncertainty. We must be intentional about what our plans are, and the professional organizations, our chambers and other trade groups and organizations must be part of mapping out the blueprint that we can actually come together year after year, engage, are we reaching our key performance indexes that we want to accomplish?
Intentionality around public-private partnerships.
Yes.
Can you say more? How do you leverage private companies, governments, have different goals? That doesn't mean we can't come together, right? And we can't find the best solution, and we become more resourceful and we become more resilient when we work together. What is being the key from your perspective to really bring those together?
And it starts with a conversation. It starts with doing a real mapping of what organizations are available in our private sector, and then doing a real transparent conversation about what are the fixes we need in government. When we look at how we're using our call centers, with the introduction of artificial intelligence, there's no reason we still need a large number of human beings on the other end of a call center when you can use technology to do that. When we look at how to educate our children, particularly those with learning disabilities, Microsoft and other industries have some great products out there that can take education to the next level with those with learning disabilities. And so the goal is to have private industries do an analysis of government, what are the goods and services that we're providing to our constituencies, and see what is available in the private industry to come in and reshape government. We can't continue to run cities the way we are running cities. It is a losing scenario, and keeping up with the transformation of private industry. Our private industry should be part of creating the curriculum that we're teaching our children in schools. Because why our children go to school in the first place is to either graduate, start a job, or start a career, start their own business. So they need to know the skills that are needed to be successful in the industries that our children are going to move in the direction of. And so those partnerships and sharing cybersecurity ideas, because we're all in it together, to public safety ideas, to educating our future workforce, to dealing with how to run cities more efficiently. If you were to run your company the way cities are currently being run, you would be out of business quickly. And so we need to start understanding, I'm not the mayor of the city of New York, I'm this chief executive officer. I have 220,000 employees, $106 billion budget. Police department alone, over 50,000 men and women. These are companies, these are major companies, and I must run it like a company to ensure that I produce the right product that my stockholders, who are my voters, ask me to produce. If you don't do that, then you're not going to keep up, and it's going to be a drain on your business. Because when government fails, it goes after the taxpayers to fill the gap. Efficiency is a relationship that we should all focus on. I run my city correctly. You have more money in your pockets to run your companies correctly and to educate the children and families of your city.
Well said. And innovation is also critical in government, right? And we should also talk about innovation and technological development in cities. And in security, can you give us say something on, you spent over 20 years of your life in the New York City Police Department. What changes are you seeing for the city in terms of the use of technology for security?
Yeah, and you know, I say this over and over again, public safety is a prerequisite to prosperity. No matter how successful you are as a CEO, as a chief financial officer, no matter who you are, if you're not safe in your city, if you don't feel comfortable with your children walking and enjoying the beautification of the city, if you don't believe inside your own home you are safe, then you are prisoners within your success. And we are a firm believer that cities must be safe, and I do not compromise on that. And we're using technology to do so. As I stated, everything from using our vast camera network to looking at new ways of giving our police officers the tools they need through the use of drones and other form of robotics, using facial recognition in a proper way, not to be intrusive, but to identify people who are habitual of criminal behavior, and do information sharing. We have a vast information sharing network to go after those who are moving illegal drugs, dealing with firearms. There's a real issue here that we're seeing around firearms in the region with the Caribbean and South and Central American countries. And so we believe technology is the future of public safety. If it's used correctly, if we're unafraid, we'll be able to keep our city safer as the years go on. We have to be safe. Without safety, we're not going to have the prosperity that we deserve.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is Mayor Eric Adams. I want to thank you for this great conversation. I want to thank the U.S.-Mexico Foundation and the North Capital Forum. And I have just a last question, which is, do I get my picture? This was a gift from the mayor.
5 days for free with riding shotgun with you. Thank you, Mayor, so much for a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Monica, for hosting that. And this is an amazing picture. Let's please give them a big round of applause. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everything that you taught us this morning. And just a quick logistics mention. So first of all, we're going to have the breakout sessions at 10 a.m. We're going to start promptly. Remember, we have a very complex agenda. So we're going to have the first breakout session from 10 to 11. Then we have a 15-minute break. Then from 11:15 to 12:15 is the second breakout session. And then we'll see you back here at 12:30 for lunch. Breakout sessions are in the floor below. And since last year everybody said that they wanted more network time, we have 30 minutes where you can just mingle, you can go downstairs, you can stay here. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're having a fantastic time.
Pleasure. You're here in the city?
I'm actually based in Michigan. I have a lot of clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good to see
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right, we're gonna walk out.
What's up, man? You got the nice assignment, man. You gonna be hanging with us all the way through?
I wish. You better make a call to Politica put up some for cash. I need your help. Can you say anything about what you talked to the business leaders about?
Virtual briefing, Joe. Thank you so much.
No, but the private
The
discussion.
business.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll talk at the
What we
virtual
got
briefing.
over there? Let me see what kind of fruit we have.
Yeah, I got you.
Right here. I would love to.
Inspiration from South America. So I agree with you that it's humanity for our situation that we can assume together.
Yes, so let's do that.
Y llámame y mándame un correo y
That's a
podemos
croissant.
hablar por él. That's sweet.
Oh, okay.
Do you want a sandwich?
Okay, all right, brother. I look forward to it. I'm just seeing what we have.
Sí, gracias por ser.
Who said? Oh, that's my crew, man. He's in New York right now.
Oh my gosh, he's everywhere but Miami.
Very close to Adriano.
Adriano is such a good man.
He's gonna come down and talk with you.
Adriano is great.
Listen, your man and I, we sit down, we have a cigar together.
He loves the chats. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
Good. What's up,
Ernesto
brother?
Calero from Interconnectedness Mexico.
Okay,
We will
okay.
have a meeting with you for networking. We
Love
have
it,
to
love
cancel
it.
it, but nice to meet you.
Thank you, thank you.
Let's keep the talk to maybe have a mission to New York.
Make sure you connect with the team, okay? Okay, okay. All right.
Thank a lot. Have
All
a
right.
good trip.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Sí, gracias.
Okay. Only if you want one.